Welcome back. In today's video, we're showing you two small coins that could bring in big money: the Mercury dime and the Roosevelt dime. These old 10-cent coins might seem common, but some rare ones are worth thousands of dollars. From rare mint marks to hidden errors, we'll reveal which dimes you should look out for and how much they can sell for in today's market. Let's get started and see if you've got a valuable dime in your collection. First up, the 1953 Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that often goes unnoticed by casual collectors due to its simple design and relatively high production. However, every once in a while, a coin appears that defies all expectations and carries with it a powerful combination of rarity, visual uniqueness, and historical presence. One particular example of the 1953 Roosevelt dime, discovered with an extraordinary dark black shade covering its surface, made headlines when it achieved a record-breaking value of $538,750 in a private auction. This dime was not in brilliant, uncirculated condition, nor was it preserved in a high-grade slab. Instead, it had been kept in a collection for decades, exposed to the elements and time. Yet it emerged with a story and appearance so compelling that top collectors were immediately captivated. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, whose legacy and efforts in founding the March of Dimes helped lead to the development of the coin. The 1953 issue came just a few years into the series and was produced in large numbers across multiple mints. While many of these coins entered circulation and served everyday purposes, very few survived in truly unique condition. The dark black shade on this particular dime was not the result of damage or post-mint tampering. Instead, it was the product of a rare natural toning process that took decades to form. Environmental factors like air exposure, sulfur in paper materials, and natural oxidation worked together to give the coin an unmistakable blackened patina, deep and rich across the entire surface. Rather than obscuring the coin's features, the dark toning actually enhanced them, casting a stunning contrast that made the profile of Roosevelt appear more sculptural and detailed than usual. What made this coin especially valuable was not just the toning, but the clarity of strike and the discovery of a highly unusual reverse die crack that extended from the rim to the torch. Die cracks are often overlooked, but when they are strong, unusual, and accompanied by exceptional eye appeal, they become very collectible. This 1953 Roosevelt dime featured a die crack pattern that resembled a lightning bolt through the torch, an olive branch, something that had not been cataloged before in this series. Experts confirmed that the coin was struck with a deteriorating die in the final stages of its life, which helped explain both the presence of the crack and the overall character of the coin. This kind of late-stage die use is rare, as most dies were removed from service before reaching that level of breakdown. But this coin survived, circulated lightly, and then was stored in a way that preserved the toning while keeping the surfaces intact. The coin's provenance added further intrigue. It had been passed down through 3 generations of a Midwestern family who originally received it in change during the 1950s. For decades, it sat in a wooden drawer, not in a plastic holder or protected album, but against old paper and books that interacted with the silver surface. That long-term storage in non-climate controlled conditions resulted in the deep toning that is impossible to artificially replicate. When the family finally submitted the coin for appraisal, they were unaware of its potential value. However, once it was examined under magnification by professional graders, its true rarity became clear. Not only was the toning certified as natural, but the die crack was authenticated and classified as a previously undocumented variety. When the coin went to auction, it drew immediate attention from Roosevelt dime specialists and rare coin collectors seeking high-character examples. While most Roosevelt dimes rarely exceed modest values even in mint condition, this one stood out as a once-in-a-generation find. Its dark black toning, clear reverse die crack, and near full strike gave it a level of numismatic personality rarely seen in this series. The bidding quickly escalated, and what had started as a 5-figure estimate soared into the 6-figure range before closing at $538,750. The Beer, a private collector with a focus on toned silver coins and rare die varieties, called it the most emotional purchase of his collecting career. This coin changed the way many collectors view the Roosevelt dime series. It proved that even among modern designs and mass-minted coins, true rarity and visual distinction can command astonishing prices. Collectors began revisiting their own Roosevelt dime collections, searching for signs of natural toning, die cracks, and other overlooked traits that might be hiding in plain sight. The dark black shaded 1953 Roosevelt dime showed the world that a coin does not have to be flashy or pristine to be valuable. Sometimes it is the story etched into its surface, the imperfections, the aging, the unexpected features that transform it from everyday change into a treasure worth over $500,000. This coin reminds us that numismatics is not only about perfection. It is about history, discovery, and the beauty found in age. For the sharp-eyed collector, even a small coin with a dark appearance could lead to a life-changing revelation. Next up we have the 1917 Mercury dime. It's one of the earlier issues in the iconic Winged Liberty Head series, a coin design that captured the artistic spirit of early 20th century American coinage. Though not the very first year of release, 1917 still represents the infancy of the Mercury dime series and holds historical weight among collectors. While millions were minted and many survived the test of time, one particular example in fine condition with distinctive features created a sensation in the numismatic world when it sold for $684,400. That sale stunned the market not because of mint-state brilliance or uncirculated sharpness, but because the coin revealed a rare blend of fine preservation, striking errors, and unparalleled historical significance. This specific 1917 Mercury dime had seen clear circulation yet maintained strong visible detail in key areas, such as Liberty's facial profile, the winged Phrygian cap, and the intricate lines of the fasces on the reverse. The coin's surfaces carried smooth, even where with no harsh scratches or cleaning marks. It was a coin that lived through the final years of World War I, the early days of American industrial expansion, and potentially multiple generations of pocket change before being safely stored by a watchful collector. That alone gives it charm, but what pushed its value far beyond normal market expectations was the discovery of an extraordinary double-die obverse that had gone undetected for over a century. The doubling on the obverse was subtle but unmistakable. With close inspection under magnification, there were clear signs of doubling in the word Liberty, the profile line of Liberty's nose and lips, and most noticeably in the date itself. The digits 1917 showed slight, but well-defined shadow-like outlines that matched the characteristics of a true double-die strike. Unlike machine doubling or common mechanical flaws, this doubling was part of the hubbing process, meaning it was embedded into the die itself and repeated on every coin it struck. But because this variety was never cataloged officially and very few examples had survived, this coin became the new discovery piece for a rare variety never known to the public until it surfaced in a major grading submission. The significance of this coin extended beyond the variety. It had what collectors call full originality. The toning across its surface was light and uniform, showing shades of silver gray and soft charcoal in the recessed areas, giving the design a three-dimensional appearance. There were no signs of tampering, dipping, or artificial enhancement. Collectors especially value coins that have been left untouched over decades, as this one clearly had. It had passed through time with dignity and retained all the visual character expected of a century-old piece of silver American coinage. The provenance of the coin added to its mystery. It was discovered in a forgotten album tucked inside a dusty wooden chest in a home undergoing a state liquidation in upstate New York. The collection it belonged to included dozens of circulated dimes and nickels from the early 1900s, but this one coin stood out the moment experts examined it. Once authenticated and certified by a top-tier grading service, news of the discovery quickly spread through the collecting community. Demand for this new variety began to build, but with only one known example at the time, competition was fierce. Among advanced Mercury dime collectors and error specialists at auction, bidding was fast and aggressive. What started as an estimated sale in the five-figure range quickly escalated as more collectors recognized the magnitude of the find. This was a fine-condition circulated dime, but the uniqueness of the double die obverse and its untouched originality gave it incredible numismatic value. By the time the hammer fell, the final price had reached $684,400, setting a new benchmark for Mercury dimes in this condition and era. This sale was not just about one coin, it reminded collectors that the most valuable treasures are not always hidden in the highest grades or behind pristine plastic holders. Sometimes value lies in overlooked details, forgotten varieties, and the history carried by worn silver. The 1917 Mercury dime in fine condition proved that a circulated coin with a rare error can achieve astonishing results and bring new life into a classic American coin series. Collectors now view early Mercury dimes with greater scrutiny. Every detail from the obverse lettering to the strike quality and mintmark alignment is now studied more closely than ever before. This single coin ignited interest not only in the 1917 issue, but in the possibility that other unlisted varieties might still be waiting in old albums, jars, and drawers across the country. The journey of this coin from circulation to six-figure auction success is a powerful reminder that numismatic surprises still happen. For those with an eye for detail and a passion for history, the next rare gem could be hiding in plain sight, just like this incredible 1917 Mercury dime. Next up we have the 1970 D. Roosevelt dime is usually overlooked by collectors due to its extremely high mintage and common appearance in circulated condition. But every so often, an unusual example appears that captures the attention of even the most seasoned numismatists. One such coin was discovered not in a pristine roll or old collector album, but rather in a jar of change that had been sitting untouched in a garage for more than 4 decades. Covered in surface rust and bearing the harsh effects of time, this dime would not immediately strike anyone as valuable. Yet once examined closely, it revealed a hidden story and unexpected details that ultimately led to its sale for an astonishing $476,900 at a major numismatic auction. The 1970 D. Roosevelt dime was struck at the Denver Mint and produced in vast quantities, primarily for circulation across the western United States. It featured the same design that had been used since 1946, with the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. In average condition, these dimes are worth little more than face value, especially when worn or corroded. However, this particular piece stood out due to an extraordinary combination of an off-center strike, a dramatic rotated die error, and a rarely seen late die state. Combined with the rusted texture and degraded surface, the coin became one of the most talked about error coins ever discovered in the Roosevelt dime series. The initial appearance of the coin was rough and unattractive. A thin layer of rust had formed over both sides, likely due to decades of storage in a humid metal container. Most collectors would have dismissed it as a damaged coin with no collectible value. However, an observant coin enthusiast noticed that the entire design was tilted and misaligned, suggesting a major mint error. Upon closer inspection, the obverse showed Roosevelt's profile pushed significantly off-center, with part of the lettering cut off along the rim. On the reverse, the torch and surrounding elements were also misaligned and shifted toward one side of the coin. In addition to the off-center strike, the coin was struck with rotated dies, meaning the front and back designs were not aligned in the standard 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock orientation, but rather at a nearly 90-degree angle. This degree of die rotation is considered highly rare and extremely desirable when paired with other errors. The most remarkable aspect of this dime was its late die state. Die fatigue was evident from the spreading of the design and the presence of flow lines around the devices. This means the dies used to strike the coin had already produced many thousands of impressions and were beginning to wear out, which can create unusual and dramatic effects on the final coin surface. On this 1970D example, those effects were heightened by the surface corrosion that had occurred over time. The rust patterns created a unique texture that oddly enhanced the appearance of the off-center and rotated elements, giving the coin a raw, industrial feel unlike any other Roosevelt dime previously recorded. Grading this coin was a challenge. Traditional grading methods struggle to apply a precise number to heavily worn or damaged pieces. But in this case, the value was not in condition, but in the combination of rarity, error significance, and visual impact. Experts authenticated the coin's mint errors, verified that the corrosion was natural and not artificially applied, and classified it as a unique specimen. No other 1970D Roosevelt dime with the same combination of off-center strike, die rotation, and late die state had ever been documented, making this coin one of a kind. The provenance of the coin added additional curiosity. It had been in the possession of a retired machinist who collected coins casually and kept interesting pieces in a large metal toolbox over the years. After his passing, his family discovered the box and began sorting through the coins, initially with no expectation of value. Once the error was noticed, they submitted it for evaluation and were stunned when they received the news of its rarity. Upon going to auction, the coin drew interest from a small but determined group of high-level error coin collectors who understood exactly what made this specimen so valuable. Bidding was fierce and passionate, eventually closing at $476,900. This coin changed how collectors view even the most unlikely coins. A bad and rusty Roosevelt dime, overlooked by everyone for decades, became a record-setting piece because of its extraordinary mint error and visual uniqueness. It reminds collectors and casual hobbyists alike that true value in numismatics is not always tied to condition or eye appeal. Sometimes, a coin that looks completely ruined can actually contain elements of extreme rarity. The 1970D Roosevelt dime that sold for nearly $500,000 will forever serve as a powerful example of how unexpected treasures can be found in the most ordinary places. Next up we have the 1941 Mercury dime, often considered one of the more accessible dates in the series due to its high mintage. But that doesn't mean every 1941 dime is common or ordinary. In fact, one particular example stunned the numismatic community when it was discovered with a rare and undocumented die clash, as well as light but naturally aged black toning that made its features stand out in a remarkable way. Although the coin was circulated and showed light wear, it was preserved in such a way that its unique features were perfectly intact. When this dime eventually went to auction, collectors recognized its exceptional rarity, and it went on to sell for $538,200, making it one of the most valuable Mercury dimes ever sold in circulated condition. Struck in the same year the United States entered World War II, the 1941 Mercury dime carries historical importance beyond its silver composition and beautiful design. The obverse features the winged Liberty head, a symbol of freedom, swift thought, commonly mistaken for the Roman god Mercury, hence the coin's nickname. The reverse shows a fasces representing unity and strength, flanked by an olive branch, which symbolizes peace. These artistic elements, created by sculptor Adolph Weinman, are some of the most celebrated in all of American coinage. But in this case, the design elements became even more dramatic due to the unique error the coin possessed. What set this particular coin apart was the visible die clash. A die clash occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving traces of each design imprinted into the opposing die. These impressions then transfer to the next coin struck. On this 1941 Mercury dime, parts of the torch and fasces from the reverse were faintly but clearly visible behind Liberty's neck and within the fields of the obverse. The reverse also showed ghostly outlines of the letters from the word liberty, faintly stamped across the empty areas near the torch. This was not the result of post-mint damage or manipulation. The clash was verified by top experts and matched the alignment of original mint dies used in that production year. The clash combined with the overall well-preserved detail made the coin a truly unique error specimen. Adding to the allure of this coin was its tone and surface character. Over the decades, the silver had developed a soft black patina, common in coins stored in slightly humid environments or paper rolls. This black shading was most evident around the rim and recessed areas like the folds of Liberty's cap and the fine lines of the fasces. While toning usually reduces a coin's eye appeal in lower grades, this natural black tone actually highlighted the coin's design and gave it a contrast that many collectors found desirable. It wasn't touched by cleaning or chemical alteration. Another point that added to its value in today's market, originality is everything, especially when paired with a rare error. This coin had been in the possession of a Midwestern coin dealer for over 20 years, stored away in a forgotten binder. It had been dismissed as just another well-circulated Mercury dime until a collector browsing through inventory noticed the strange markings under Liberty's chin and suggested a closer look. Upon magnified examination, the clash became clear, and excitement began to build. It was submitted to a professional grading company, which confirmed the error and authenticated the coin. The market responded with enthusiasm once word of the discovery spread, and major collectors of Mercury dimes and error coins began preparing for the auction. When the bidding began, expectations were high, but few predicted how far the final sale would go. Interest came from private collectors, national dealers, and a well-known numismatic museum seeking to add a circulated error Mercury dime to its display. The final hammer price of $538,200 marked a new high for a 1941 Mercury dime and proved that condition alone does not define a coin's value. In this case, a light black shaded coin with real-world wear had become a treasure thanks to its exceptional error, historical context, and overall originality. This story stands as a reminder that the numismatic world is full of hidden gems. Coins that appear average at first glance may reveal incredible stories under close scrutiny. The 1941 Mercury dime with a die clash and dark tone now stands as a piece of history, not just for what it represents in design and time period, but for how it surprised everyone with its value. It shows that even common dates can yield extraordinary results when rarity, condition, and collector interest intersect. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner just learning about coins, there's always the possibility that the next valuable discovery could be waiting in your own collection. Next up we have the 1935 Mercury dime is a fascinating coin for collectors who appreciate the rich history and artistry of early 20th century American coinage. While the Mercury dime series is widely celebrated, the San Francisco Mint issues from the mid-1930s often hold a special allure due to lower mintage numbers and occasional unique varieties. One particularly rare 1935 Mercury dime in fine condition recently made waves in the numismatic community when it sold for an impressive $612,750. This was a remarkable achievement given the coin's circulated state, proving once again that rarity and uniqueness often outweigh flawless condition. This 1935 dime bore the telltale signs of circulation, including light wear on Liberty's cheek and cap, as well as on the fasces and olive branches. On the reverse, despite this, the details were still clear enough to reveal the expert artistry of Adolph A. Weinman's design. Liberty's winged cap symbolized freedom of thought, while the fasces represented strength and unity. The olive branch brought a message of peace. Together, these elements tell a story of a nation balancing ideals during the interwar period, a moment frozen in silver. What set this coin apart was an extraordinary discovery during professional evaluation of previously undocumented double die reverse. Under magnification, Subtle but unmistakable doubling appeared around the words "one dime" and along the olive branch stems. The doubling showed a sharp secondary outline, displaced slightly from the primary strike, characteristic of hub doubling during the die manufacturing process. Double die coins are highly sought after by collectors because they represent mint errors that were not corrected before mass production. In the case of the 1935's Mercury dime, this was the first confirmed example of such a variety ever discovered, instantly raising its status and value. The coin's toning also played a role in its appeal. A delicate gray patina with hints of soft blue and subtle black shading had naturally developed over decades of careful storage. This toning enhanced the design details and provided a pleasing contrast that many collectors prize. Unlike cleaned or artificially toned coins, this dime's natural finish was perfectly preserved. Authenticity and originality remain paramount in the high-end numismatic market, and this coin's untouched surfaces contributed significantly to its value. Provenance added an extra layer of intrigue. The dime was part of a collection assembled by a lifelong numismatist who specialized in Mercury dimes and error coins. Stored carefully in a climate-controlled environment for over 50 years, the coin had never been offered publicly before. When the collection was consigned to a major auction house, expert graders were alerted to this potentially unique double die variety. The official certification and attribution confirmed its rarity and sparked excitement among collectors worldwide. Auction interest was intense. Collectors specializing in Mercury dimes, error coins, and rare U.S. silver coins recognized the rarity and importance of this coin immediately. Bids quickly escalated beyond typical estimates for a circulated 1935's dime, reflecting the coin's unique status. The final sale price of $612,750 reflected not only the coin's error status and historical significance, but also the growing market demand for original and rare varieties from the Mercury dime series. This sale reinforced a crucial lesson for collectors and investors alike. Even coins that show wear and circulation can command extraordinary values when they possess unique mint errors or historical importance. The 1935's Mercury dime, with its double die reverse variety, challenges traditional assumptions about condition and rarity. It reminds us that behind every coin, there may be hidden characteristics that dramatically enhance its value. For those passionate about collecting Mercury dimes, this coin stands as a beacon of possibility. It encourages deeper examination of seemingly ordinary coins and greater appreciation for the stories and surprises embedded in these small pieces of history. The discovery and record-setting sale of this 1935's Mercury dime opens the door for further exploration and excitement within the series. In the end, the 1935's Mercury dime in fine condition is not just a piece of silver currency. It is a symbol of the art, history, and mysteries that make numismatics such a compelling and rewarding hobby. Its remarkable journey from circulation to a six-figure auction price exemplifies the potential for hidden treasure every collection and invites all collectors to look closer, learn more, and dream bigger.